All right, let's talk about freedom. I mean, we all want more of it, right? But what if I told you that getting exactly what you want, I'm talking total, absolute freedom, could actually be the worst thing that ever happens to you? Yeah, I know, it sounds completely backward, but it's a super interesting idea, so let's dig in. I mean, just picture it for a second. You don't have to work, no alarm clock blaring in your ear, no sitting in traffic. Your days are just completely, totally yours to do whatever you want with. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Okay, now let's pile on top of that. What if money wasn't an issue at all? Like, you have all the money you could ever need. Any tour you want, any trip you can dream of, any wild project, it's all on the table.
So, you've got unlimited time and unlimited resources. I mean, that is the dream, right? That's the ultimate freedom we're all told to chase after. It's the finish line. But here's the crazy part. When people actually get this kind of absolute freedom, things tend to go south, fast. You hear about it all the time, right? Lottery winners who end up broke and totally miserable. People who retire after a long career and just feel completely lost. Or even creative people who finally have all the time in the world to write that book, and they just can't. So, what on earth is going on here?
Well, it turns out this isn't just bad luck or some kind of personal flaw. Nope, it's a very specific phenomenon, and it actually has a name, the container problem. And trust me, once you understand this, it's going to change how you think about your time, your money, and, well, your freedom.
Okay, so what in the world is a container? It's a really simple, but man, is it a powerful idea. Basically, a container is anything that gives our time or our money some kind of shape. It's the structure, the framework that kind of holds our lives together, usually without us even noticing.
And when you start looking, you see these containers are literally everywhere. That 9-to-5 job you have, that's a container for your day. A project deadline, container for your focus. A monthly budget, that's a container for your money. Even simple things like schedules and rules about when things start and stop, they're all containers that direct your energy. They're like the invisible walls of our lives.
So here's the big paradox, right? Why does taking these limits, these containers away, so often feel, well, paralyzing instead of liberating? Let's dive into the psychology here. What's actually happening in our brains when we're staring into that abyss of infinite possibility?
This chart pretty much nails it. On one side, you've got time without containers. It's just this vast, empty space. You don't know when to start, so you put it off. You don't know when to stop, so taking a break just feels wrong, like you're being lazy. It's a surefire recipe for feeling lost and empty. But then you add a container, and bam, everything gets sharp. You've got a clear starting point, a definite end point, and that rest you take, it feels earned, it feels good. That structure is what creates focus and direction.
And, this isn't just about time. Money works the exact same way. If you don't have a plan or a budget, a container for it, a sudden windfall of cash can create incredible anxiety. I mean, every single choice is suddenly possible, which means every potential mistake feels huge. It's not calming at all. It's pure chaos. So, if you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by a big, open-ended project, just know this. It is not a character flaw. You're not sabotaging yourself. It's just your brain doing what it's supposed to do. It's basically screaming, "Whoa, this is way too much without a frame. Give me some edges so I can actually make a decision."
Okay, so this is the real turning point in how we think about this. We need to completely reframe how we see structure. We're so used to thinking of rules and limits as these prisons that hold us back. But what if they're actually the very things that make freedom usable in the first place?
Our first instinct is always to blame ourselves, right? We think, I just need more willpower, more self-discipline. But think about it. For most of human history, people didn't have to rely only on their own internal motivation. The world gave them containers. Church bells told you when to pray. Factory whistles told you when to stop working. Shops closed at a certain time. The whole day was structured externally. So expecting our own willpower to replace all of that, that's a huge and kind of unfair thing to ask of ourselves.
So let's be super clear. A container is not a punishment. It's not a penalty for not being disciplined enough. It's not a cage.
Instead, I want you to think of a container like this. It's the banks for a river.
Because what happens to a river without banks? All that water, all that incredible potential, it just spills out everywhere and turns into a big, stagnant swamp. There's no force, no direction, no flow. The banks are what give the river its power, its purpose, and containers do that exact same thing for our time, for our energy, for our money.
Okay, that's the theory, and I think it's pretty powerful. But how do we actually use this? Especially if you're a freelancer, or you work for yourself, or you just have a ton of unstructured time. Let's get practical. Let's talk about a toolkit for building your own containers. Look, you can start building some really simple containers like today. First thing, give your day some edges. Set a firm start time and a firm finish time, just like a regular job. Second, make time visible. Use a timer, like the Pomodoro technique, to create these little mini containers for deep focus. Third, and this is a big one, stop trying to do everything at once. Commit to one main project at a time. Contain your focus. And finally, create simple rules that don't depend on how you're feeling, like, I always go for a walk at lunch, no matter what.
And the real beauty of a good container is that it's objective. It doesn't argue with you. The timer doesn't care if you feel like it. Your 5 p.m. stop time isn't going to negotiate. These things remove that daily, exhausting battle with your own feelings and your own willpower. They just exist.
All right, let's bring this all home. The big goal here isn't just about getting more freedom. It's about building the capacity to actually handle the freedom you have and the freedom you want to have in the future.
And if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Getting more time and more money won't magically fix your life. What they will do is magnify whatever system you already have in place. So if you have chaos, you'll just get bigger chaos. But if you have strong containers, those same resources will magnify your focus, your success, and your well-being. The structure has to come first.
Which brings us to this really powerful idea that just sums it all up perfectly. Freedom without limits? It isn't really freedom at all. It's just drift. You're just floating in this endless ocean of possibility, with no map, no compass, no direction. You're not in control. You're just being pulled along by the currents. So the final question from this explainer isn't about how to get more freedom, it's about how to use the freedom you already have. The real question, the one I want you to take with you, is this. What's the first, simplest container you're going to build for yourself?